We did have some contact there. I'm going to try this again without hitting my head. This is the 11th generation Honda Accord. It's built in Ohio. This color is called Radiant Red, and this car began hitting Canadian dealerships in February of 2023. Compared to the previous Accord, this one's sleeker, more sophisticated, about 3 inches or 7 centimeters longer, and that contributes to class-leading passenger and interior volume. My Tester costs $44,500 in its top-line hybrid touring configuration, has a hybrid engine, front-wheel drive, and competes primarily with the Camry Hybrid and Sonata Hybrid, which are also front-wheel drive. But then there is the Toyota Crown, which gets you all-wheel drive for similar money. But there are some very important pros and cons to understand, and I'll lay that very detailed analysis out for you a little later in the video. I've got a ton of math, and I'm excited to share it with you, because there are some really interesting stories between the Accord and the Crown if you dig into the data. So stay tuned for some full analysis and a side-by-side road test of these two machines. Pricing on your screen, and as you check that out, I'll leave you with a thought. In 2023, I would definitely be buying a hybrid if possible, if for no other reason that the future resale value will likely be higher than non-hybrid models, as fuel prices continue to climb. And does that hybrid engine really cost you anything in the long run? Well, I've got that math lesson for you in my deep dive on the Honda Accord's hybrid system, and that's coming up in a future video, so don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below if you're watching on YouTube so you don't miss that upload. So both the Toyota Camry Hybrid and Hyundai Sonata Hybrid have slightly lower annual fuel costs than the Accord Hybrid, but that's splitting hairs, and I've run the numbers. When it comes to your annual gas bill, these cars are separated by no more than $300 a year, assuming you pay $1.50 for a liter of gas and drive 25,000 kilometers per year. In terms of exterior dimensions, the Honda Accord stands out as the longest of the three cars with an overall length of 4,971 millimeters, or about 195.7 inches. That's 76 millimeters, or 3 inches longer than the Toyota Camry Hybrid, and 71 millimeters, or just under 3 inches longer than the Hyundai Sonata Hybrid. On the other hand, the Sonata Hybrid boasts the longest wheelbase at 2,840 millimeters, or about 112 inches. That's 10 millimeters, or just about half an inch longer than the Honda Accord Hybrid, and 15 millimeters, or just over half an inch longer than the Toyota Camry Hybrid. On interior dimensions, the Hyundai Sonata Hybrid provides the most headroom, both in front, with 975 millimeters, or about 38.5 inches, and in the rear, with 950 millimeters, or about 37.4 inches as well. It also offers the most legroom in the front seats at 1,170 millimeters, or about 46.1 inches, but has the least legroom in the rear seats at 885 millimeters, or about 34.8 inches. As for cargo dimensions, the Honda Accord Hybrid offers the most cargo space when all seats are in place, at 473 liters, or about 16.7 cubic feet if you like, and it also has the largest overall interior volume, 2,911 liters, or just under 122.3 cubic feet. Keep that number in mind for later. When we pop this trunk, plenty of cargo capacity there as well. That's nice and light action there, spring assisted, and opening it, same thing, just a little touch. Spring loaded action, it's going to get that tailgate lid right up and out of your way. So to bring the Toyota Crown into the comparison, we've got a $45,590 entry price for the XLE trim grade. That's, call it $1,100 more than the Accord Hybrid Sport Touring. The Crown is standard with a hybrid engine, and actually you get more power than the Accord with 236 horsepower versus 212. That's a 24 horsepower advantage for the Toyota. Fuel economy is highly comparable between the pair as well, with less than a $150 per year difference, despite the Crown offering more power and driven wheels. This is your all-wheel drive answer too, since all-wheel drive comes standard. But here are the interesting little secrets I found in the data. The Toyota Crown and Honda Accord are the exact same size when comparing exterior dimensions, length and width, so that's all the more reason to compare them. But dig a little deeper, and things get even more interesting. Though effectively identical in size, the Toyota Crown offers a passenger volume of 100.1 cubic feet, which is 18.1% less than the Accord Hybrid's passenger volume of 122.3 cubic feet. The Toyota Crown also has a full 1.3 inches, or a touch over 3 centimeters less front seat headroom than the Accord, and if you're much taller than me at about 5'10", you may need to steer towards the Honda. I'm about 5'10" or so. You're going to notice, if you're much taller than me, the headroom running out here pretty quickly. We do have this big sunroof, but even with the seat down low here, I do have that sort of car-like, coupe-like driving position in terms of the roof and the sort of upper A-pillar area here being pretty close to my head. Not intrusive, not sort of crowding me, but definitely aware that you're not sitting in an SUV. The Crown actually leads in rear seat headroom, but only by a small fraction of an inch, and in those back seats, the Crown's got 1.5 inches or nearly 4 centimeters less legroom than the Accord. So that's the Honda Accord making the far better overall use of its size. If you'll frequently travel with taller or larger adults and plenty of cargo, the Accord is probably the better car for the job, but then there is another big surprise from the Toyota Crown, and still one more to go from the Honda Accord that may sway your decision, and we'll see both of those in the road test. Oop. So interesting, because no duck here on the way in, if you're careful. But you do really have to watch. Right here sort of starts crowding in. Around the top of my head there. Loads of legroom, loads of knee room in front of me here, but this headroom is probably going to be an issue if you're any taller than me at about 5'10". I'm just about out of headroom back here, and we do have this bulkhead from the sunroof right in front of us. If you can deal with that, plenty of knee room, plenty of legroom, plenty of room for my feet, 2 USB charging ports back there. Nice, deep, comfortable seating position, soft seat, good outward view. I think unless you're much taller than me, you'd have no problem spending a couple of very comfortable hours back here on a road trip. Key notes from my road test on the Honda Accord include excellent performance from its driver assist features. They're smooth, consistent, trustworthy, never caused me any stress, and eased me comfortably through hours of laid-back driving that was smoothed out by the excellent assists. If you're comparing the Accord to the Crown, I don't think you'll find any significant differences in performance when it comes to radar cruise, lane keeping, and blind spot detection systems. After 3,000 kilometers at the wheel, I sure didn't. These two machines offer a top-notch safety package. The most impressive thing about the Accord Hybrid is its engine and powertrain. The CVT is smooth, the engine is virtually inaudible in most driving. Control over vibrations and squirming from the hybrid driveline as gas and electric power are blended is excellent too. The electric-assisted throttle response means the Accord Hybrid is snappy in light-to-light driving, and still packs a modest punch for passing and merging on the highway. This is one of the first times I've ever said this about a hybrid, but I really think you're seeing this engine's best work in sport mode, where it really proves the hybrid tech can be fun to use. At full throttle, stepped shifting is fast and very responsive. The shove into your seat comes right away thanks to the electric motor, and as the gas engine gets spinning faster, that shove into your seat builds, and the engine actually sounds lovely in the process. So a sport mode in a hybrid car you'll actually want to use. In the Crown, the engine is more powerful and you get all-wheel drive. There's similarly impressive shove into your seat from very low revs. But in general, the Crown's hybrid engine is a little noisier more of the time, and at full throttle it lacks the sensation of stepped gears and a pleasing, refined engine sound like you'll find in the Accord Hybrid. So I think enthusiast drivers will be happiest with the Honda when it comes to the powertrain. But then there's the ride, where the Accord handles the rough stuff like a Honda and the Crown handles it more like, well, a Lexus. Compared to the Accord, I found my Crown's ride to be smoother and quieter more of the time, perhaps especially on rough road and back road surfaces, and its speed on the highway. The Crown's suspension is expertly tuned to make controlled use of its generous travel and ground clearance. The car reacts consistently to uneven surfaces, with noise levels and harshness largely filtered out of the equation across a wide range of surfaces for consistent ride comfort. The Accord does a good job too, but it is a few ticks harsher and noisier and more jarring on the same surfaces. This is a special test because most vehicles don't do a good job of turning in a comfortable ride on this worst-case scenario testing road. There are, however, some surprises from time to time, and the Toyota Crown was one of them. Neither machine will bash your spine on this sort of surface, but I ultimately found the Crown the more impressive ride here because it keeps more of the harshness and noise out of the cabin more effectively. Both cars pull down from speed in a hurry when required, the Crown taking a big bow as the front dives a bit. But those front tires find decent bite, pedal feel is firm but a little vague, and the Crown should ultimately inspire confidence when you've got to get stopped quickly. It does a better job of coming down from speed in a straight line, too. In my testing, I found the Accord's pedal sinks a bit deeper in fast stops, but feels a touch more precise, which is easy to appreciate, although at times its tail felt slightly unsettled for just a split second as emergency braking is applied. So to sum up so far, the Crown's ride quality is stellar, the Accord's engine is stellar, and I think you'll find the Accord's interior to be more conventional, and in terms of entry, exit, and space, an easier car to live with. It's just about dark out now. The lighting is nearly perfect for us to check out the LED headlights, the head-up display, and the overall nighttime drive of this Honda Accord. Quite the well-done nighttime drive in the new Accord, mainly for the headlights, which we'll get to, but check out the cabin and instrumentation here first for a moment. Now, in higher-end cars, we don't get quite as much of this light leaking from the unlit pixels on the screen, and the screen in the Accord can look a little hazy and maybe a touch too bright at times, so be sure to get the dimmer just right for your tastes. And as you're watching this, note that my camera makes this effect look a little more dramatic than it actually is. I do like the minimal look to the dials and displays. Everything is very much at a glance here, and a pretty conventional layout too that's not too flashy or complex. It's just simple reading information, which is exactly what you want in the dark when you're cruising through the heart of Moose Country in Northern Ontario. You also want a set of headlights like these. And look, most new cars at this price point are going to give you a really good lighting system. And you also definitely don't have to spend this much money to get a really good set of headlamps in a car nowadays either. But with this Accord on this test drive, what really stood out for me was the shape and control over the light up the road. I love how my immediate foreground is somewhat unlit, and then just ahead we've got this very well-defined rectangle of light that's consistent from the guardrail to the oncoming traffic lane, with virtually no dark spots. It's like a rectangular spotlight, but the way it starts just up ahead of the car, I find, makes it easier for me to keep my eyes focused up and away, which is exactly where they should be. Nice heads-up display here too, good clean sharp graphics, simple colors to help separate information for easy reading, and it can be dimmed independently of the instrument cluster to help you set up that ideal nighttime drive. If you don't like driving in the dark, these headlights might change your mind.